It's Monday, May 27th, 2024, and this is episode 310 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, how's everything going?
Pretty good. Everything is moving right along.
Yeah, your school ended?
School ended, yeah, and graduation was this last weekend. So I guess starting today, I'm free as can be for about a month and a half.
Okay, good. Now, we're going to be going to Colorado here in a couple of weeks. Are you planning
8 days, Mark, 8 days.
Yeah. Are you planning to do any casino action before then?
That's a good question. Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're free,
Possibly.
from what I understand. Yeah. So what else are you going to do?
I know. I have a whole list of things here that have been given to me to do.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But I'll probably head down there a few times. Good. I got to get my free play.
Yeah, you've been missing out.
Yeah, you know what my dad would have said about that.
That's right. You're
losing money.
You lost money. Yeah, because you didn't go get your free play. Well, longtime listeners of the show and even listeners who listened last week, because we kind of talked about it a little bit, know that Dr. Mike and I met at Farrell's, which was an ice cream parlor restaurant, very popular in the 70s and 80s, especially with kids, that kind of thing. But we met there, and as we became friends, we started to, with some of the other employees, once the shift was over, especially on weekend nights, we would go into the back party room and play some craps.
Yep.
So we were even doing it way back when.
I don't think we were 21 then.
Obsessed with the game. Well, anyway, my sisters and I have been going through my parents' house, basically looking for important documents that maybe my dad has left behind, but we're going through everything. So my sister was going through a closet and came across one of my old craps felts. And inside it, she found a couple of things from Farrell's, these Farrell's shift reports, these big pieces of paper, a couple of them taped together. And she unfolded it where it was taped together, and on the other side found all these craps bets. Now, what I mean by that is I had created new bets for the craps felt.
Yeah.
Bets that you and I would probably put on our craps table when we finally open our casino.
Right.
I sent you a picture of this. I'll post the picture.
I got a kick out of it. I kind of, as soon as I saw it, I said, I think I know what this is.
I'll post a picture of it on the show notes on the webpage. But for example, one of the bets that you could make, and I would just put this piece of paper right next to the felt. So, I could actually put people's chips on there. For example, easy 6. Or easy 8, two separate bets. That would pay 3-2.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Right? Now, all of these wagers, I made sure there was still a house edge. So, there you go. Easy 4 or easy 10, 3-1. No 7 on the next roll. Pays 1-6. Things like that. I had a C&E combo. So you could bet C&E, but no matter which one came up, you'd get paid 4-1. So instead of 2 separate bets, it was just one bet.
One bet.
Yeah, C. You got C or E paid 4-1. So all sorts of.
How about C and E plus 7? I like that one.
That way, C, E, or 7, and it just paid the same no matter what came up, 5-2. Yeah. So I don't know how popular these bets were with the guys that we played with, but anyway, I was obsessed with the game back then. I'll post this.
I'm sure I was making some.
Maybe some of them. Yeah.
Oh, that brings up some old memories. It would get late sometimes. I remember I got in trouble once because came home so late, and my mom, she was like, well, I woke up at 4 a.m. and you weren't here.
Yeah, we would play till dawn many times. And sometimes we'd go out to breakfast after that, right?
Right. And she said, I assumed you were, doing something with the guys. But she was not happy that day. She was like, we worry about you. Okay. That was the days before cell phones. So,
right.
You're not going to call the house because the phone would ring and that would scare them to death, right? And there was no way to leave a text or a message or anything. It's just like, he's not here. Hope he's not dead.
Oh, to be young again.
Yeah. Now you can track your kids and they can just drop you a text saying, I'm going to be at so-and-so's and I'll be home later.
Yeah.
And, you just go to sleep. Back then, it was much harder being a parent back then, I think.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, your kids can still lie to you, when they text you.
Right.
So,
sure. There's that. Yeah. Yeah. But if you got them on a tracker,
yeah, exactly. At least you know where they are, right?
Unless right.
They gave their phone to a friend or left it. So anyway, all right, we're really going off the rails here. Mike, a few episodes back when we were talking about how they deal craps at Hamul now, we joked that it's actually better than Las Vegas because not only can you just play where the dice determine the roll, but if you want to, you can ask the dealer to shuffle up the cards and play the card way. So it's actually better. And we kind of laughed about that. Well, we went out last week. Sherry and I are going like every day now because they give us so much. And we were at the craps table and it was not going well. Just a lot of immediate outs. 0.7, 0.7, 0.7. So it gets around to this shooter and he says, hey, shuffle up the cards. And some of us on our side of the table, we're kind of rolling our eyes like, okay, yeah, mix it up. And he's like setting the dice and asking us to move our bets out of the way so he's got a clear shot. And then we're really rolling our eyes like, you
one of those people, yeah.
Mix up the cards, right? It's going to be based on cards. Well, he proved us wrong because had he not had them shuffle the cards, it would have been another immediate 7 out. And as it turns out, he went on a heater and, just made a ton of money for us. So there you go. Best of both worlds.
Yeah. Well, what they ought to institute in craps is prior to rolling the dice, you have to meet some conditions. And one of the conditions is you have to stipulate how many superstitions you're going to be employing during your roll.
Oh, okay.
So that everyone knows, like, I'm going to, set the dice every time. I'm going to ask for the chips to be moved. I'm going to do this and that. And you can only do as many as you ask.
Okay.
Right?
But you have to stipulate that up front.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing.
All right. So you got
that way we know what we're in for.
All right. So I'm always going to ask for same dice. I'm turning all my bets off when the dice go off the table or there's a stick change, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Maybe there's just a big panel next to the table and you press a button, the lights light up.
Yeah, there's going to be a panel at our casino. We've already talked about it. Panel with a big display.
Yeah, all these lights on the side light up. Oh, look, he's calling his bets off.
I'm confused. Kind of Can't we just look at the dice and play craps? So, yes, for those who don't really know what we're talking about when it comes to cards, in California, you have to base all your games on cards. And so the casinos have set up this great plan where there are 6 rectangles on the table and they shuffle cards ace through 6 before every shooter and distribute those cards. It's a random distribution within these rectangles. And then whatever comes up on the dice, that determines what cards in the corresponding rectangles they'll push forward, and that's the roll. Okay, we've talked about this before. But the reason I bring it up again is because Hamul, unless you ask for the cards to be shuffled, just place the cards all in order. Ace goes in 1, deuce goes in 2, 3 goes in 3, etc. And Hamul has been the only place that is doing this. Well, we heard rumors that they were going to do the same thing at Pechanga, which is one of the closer casinos to Los Angeles. If you lived in the LA area, there are definitely closer casinos than driving all the way down to the San Diego area. But Pechanga is one of those. It's up in Temecula. And listeners Sylvia and Chris have confirmed that at Pechanga, they now are doing what they call Vegas-style craps, where they just set up the cards ace through 6. Now, this was interesting. Sylvia and Chris said that Pechanga sent a petition to the Gaming Commission to get this approved, and it was approved. This is something we had not heard before.
They actually got it okayed.
And I'm assuming that's what Hamul did as well. We just kind of assumed, and we shouldn't have, because when you assume, it makes an ass out of you and Paul.
Right.
We assumed that Hamul had just tried it and were just seeing if they could get away with it. But apparently, and we're speculating here because we're getting this secondhand, and, Hamul and Pachanga probably petition to have. If that's the case, and there's actually some kind of approval from some authority, this is going to spread, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, well, then every casino will do it.
Yeah.
It actually, Mark, makes a lot of sense, too, right? Because if somebody does want the cards, like that shooter you were talking about, he can still do that.
Yeah.
So it is card-based, and if you want to randomly decide where the cards go, we can do that, or we can just place them where we think they should be.
Yep. Yeah. That's great news for Californians. It'd be nice to eventually completely get rid of the cards. Anyway.
Yeah, it is nice. And for visitors, for people, from other states or wherever who are visiting, it's just so much easier than
Mike,
trying to explain to them, everything.
If we didn't know about the cards and we didn't live in California, we came to California, we walked up to a craps table, bought in, we wouldn't even notice the cards initially, and we'd be looking at the dice, and after a few rolls, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, right. It'd be like, wait a minute, that wasn't the roll.
Yeah. So
the good thing is it's going to all change, I think, here pretty quick without stupid voter approval.
We won't have to rely on the voters. Yeah. I'm not blaming the voters, Mike. I'm blaming the advertisers, the entities that advertise to support or not support certain propositions.
I guess that's true because they have those Jedi mind tricks where they convince all the people to do what they want them to do.
Yeah. This isn't the craps you were looking for.
Right. Move on.
Yeah.
We have ultimate Texas Hold'em over there.
Yeah.
We have 6-5 blackjack.
Mike, here's a topic we have talked about many times on this show, and it's gone nowhere. And that is the threshold for W-2Gs on slot payouts. So anytime you win $1,200 on a slot or video poker, any machine, $1,200 or more, the casino is required to fill out an IRS form, a W-2G, indicating that you won that amount.
Yeah. And our big beef is that, first of all, that's way too low in today's world.
Yep.
And second of all, it's bad for the environment, all that paperwork that has to be filled out and stuff. If you really want to save this planet, stop filling out W-2Gs.
This $1,200 threshold was established in 1977, almost a half century ago, Dr. Mike.
Yeah.
And it has stayed $1,200 ever since. Everybody hates this total, except maybe the IRS. I don't know. You would think they would hate it too because it's more paperwork for them.
Unnecessary paperwork.
There have been many legislators that have tried to pass bills to raise this limit. It's never gone anywhere. Well, there's a committee, which is part of the IRS, called the IRS Advisory Council. And among their duties is to recommend administrative and policy changes to improve taxpayer service. Now, this happened back in November, but it's making more headlines now. They recommended to their own organization, to the IRS, that the threshold be raised from $1,200 to $5,800, which is fairly close to keeping up with inflation. So just the fact that within the IRS, they are recommending this, it's like, is it going to happen? Are we there? Are we close? Maybe we are.
Maybe. Well, I love the 5,800 amount.
I do too, because everybody was saying, just make it 5,000. That'll be fine, 5,000. But they must have been looking at inflation a little more closely and said, 5,800 makes more sense.
They figured it out to the dime, right?
Yeah, right. That's 5,800 today. Next month, we might have to raise it to 5,850. But right now,
depends on what inflation does.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good sign. At least the IRS themselves recognize how silly it is.
Yeah.
The thing about the 1,200, here's the other thing that really bugs me is, so you get issued a $1,200 W-2G, everyone will just write on their taxes, I lost more than that. And so, it's just a bunch of work for nothing.
In most cases, people will have losses that can offset that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost in every case, I'd say.
And plus, you don't think in terms, at least gamblers don't think in terms of a single win on a one spin of the slot machine. They're thinking in terms of sessions. You could
Right.
actually have a losing session and
Yeah,
still be.
and might have got issued 4 W-2Gs, right?
And here's another thing, too. It's so ridiculous. Let's say you're at a slot machine, a real high limit slot machine, where one coin in represents $300. Well,
Right.
let's say you play 4 coin in, you risk $1,200, and you spin, and you get one cherry, and that just gets you your money back, $1,200.
Yeah,
They have to
W2G.
issue you a W-2G, even though your net is 0.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on and on forever, Mark.
I
There's
think
so many ridiculous
all
things.
gamblers are on the same page with this. The casinos are. Less paperwork, less manpower. Yeah. Anyway, fingers crossed.
All right. Well, I'm going to be watching this carefully.
Are you?
Yeah. It's going to be a national holiday for gamblers.
When Dr. Mike says he's going to be watching this carefully, what he means is he's going to be paying attention to texts that I send him related to this. He'll hear it from me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first. You can bet on that.com and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. And again, we really do appreciate that people still have been clicking through, and it means a lot to us. It really does. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, voicemail time. First up is Tony.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Tony from Jamestown, New York, calling back with Singapore Part 2. So as you'll recall from last time, I was planning on coming back to Singapore at the end of April, and I did. Went to Resorts World Casino this time. Just a quick update on the casino itself. As you would expect, tons of slot machines, baccarat, going anywhere from no commission games from $10 to $100, and then full baccarat with, $200-$300 limits. Lots of sickbo or a sickbo variant, no craps, no pai gow poker, and only 4 tables of pai gow tiles, which is kind of surprising. I expected to see more. At any rate, did well again. Apparently I can't lose in Singapore. So bought in for a couple $100 and left with $700. So that's a win in my book. I'm going to chalk this up to I am positive for life in Singapore. Take care, and appreciate everything you guys do with the podcast.
All right. Thanks for the report, Tony.
Yeah, that's a bold statement, though. That's like something I would say, because, he's going to go back to Singapore.
You think he will?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
He can't lose there, Mark. I'd be there. That'd be my permanent vacation spot.
See, and my philosophy would be, no, I'm never going back because I want to be up for Singapore for my entire life.
For your entire life.
Yeah, that's how you and I are different.
Yeah, well, I'm a gambler. I'm willing to risk my entire life status by going back.
Yeah, you're more of a gambler than I am. I'll give you that.
Yeah, risk taker.
Yeah. Tony emailed us after the call, too, just to emphasize that, there were some $200, $300 limit baccarat tables, but there were also some really high stakes baccarat tables, not surprisingly. So
yeah, I imagine there's some huge ones.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Coles from Virginia Beach. Got a kind of interesting story for you. So it's kind of long overdue, as this happened about 2 years ago. I was out in Vegas for my bachelor party, stayed at the Venetian, had an awesome time. Unfortunately, not many of my friends like to play craps, but the last night we were there at the 11th hour, I convinced my best man to go to the craps table with me at the Venetian, and we shot for about half an hour, hit a few points, went up a little bit, and then decided to call it for the night. So as I went to the cage and went to cash out my chips, the cashier handed me back my cash and then gave me back one red $5 chip. And so I asked her, so what is this? And she said, well, this is one of our old chips. We don't accept these anymore. And I was sort of puzzled, and I said, well, I got your chip right from that craps table, right, 10 feet from us. What's the deal? And she said, well, go take that up with the pit boss. So I took the chip over to the pit boss and told him about it, and he basically told me to go back to the cage and take it up with them. So I decided to cut my losses and kept the chip as a little memento. But, if that were a green $25 chip, let alone a black chip, I, might have been a little bit more upset about that. So I was just wondering if you've ever heard of that happening, or if people are somewhere, feeding in old chips into table games. But yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Love the show, and thanks for everything you do. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Yeah, we haven't really heard stories of people slipping in old chips. I'm sure it happens, and maybe that was what happened in this case, although I think it's more likely that somehow it just slipped through the cracks. The problem is they wouldn't cash the old chip, but the real problem is the employees going back and forth and passing the buck. You should never be in a situation where one employee says, hey, go back to where you were and get it worked out. And then you go back there and they say, no, go back to the cashier and get it worked out. That's the real problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of lame.
It
right?
really is. Yeah, it's bad customer service, and it's a $5 chip. Come on. Somebody
and
must
you know
be
what,
able to come over and
the cashier might have some strict restrictions put on her where she can't take it because maybe it's not RFD'd or
understood. Yeah,
something like that. But at the table,
yeah, you go back.
The pit boss,
you gave this to me.
Yeah, the pit boss should just give you another chip.
Yeah.
From a sack. Take that chip, put it on the back counter, and then tell his supervisor, whoever, hey, this was in here.
Yeah.
We're a nickel short.
It's only $5. And here's the thing. Coles was saying, what if it had been a green chip or a black chip? You would hope that a black chip wouldn't make it through because they
would hope.
Monitor them so closely. But yeah, then what do you do? Right? Where you're being told to go back and forth. Maybe the pit boss is not in a position to just swap out a black chip. But then Coles, that's a lot of money, right? What's he going to do?
Yeah.
Waste his time arguing with people when, he was given that chip at the table. Anyway, yeah, this is bad.
Well, it's
service.
just very bad customer service. Yeah.
In a business, if you were told to go see somebody and you go to that somebody should never say, go back to the first person.
Right.
There should be some alternative at that point. The pit boss probably can't leave his station, but maybe when he is able to, walk to the cashier with the customer and then discuss it with the cashier. Come up with something. Yeah.
Right. That's kind of like the old when you're a kid and you're trying to play parents off of each other, right?
Yeah.
Well, mom said, well, go ask your dad, and and then blah, 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 back and forth.
Yeah.
Till you get the answer you want.
Or you just say, oh, mom said it was okay. Oh, dad said it was okay. Just go back. Oh, the pit boss said it was okay.
Yeah. The pit boss said it was okay.
He said cash it. All right. Next up is Fred.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is listener Fred. I listened to your episode 308, and in that, a listener called in and talked about how he found a ticket in a machine, about $98, waited 15 minutes, nobody came, and then his family used that ticket for successful gambling over the weekend. Your response was, be very careful, and I think that response was very accurate. Years ago, I had found some coins in a slot machine tray, and I took it, and quite frankly, there's no way of tracing that. But currently, the ticket out vouchers usually have some way of tracing who the player was, assuming that the player used a player's card. And so presumably, if the casino were motivated, they could find out whose money that is and returned it to them. Alternatively, people who use that ticket can get in trouble because there's a way of tracing that that's not their money. Not to mention, it's probably not great karma. At any rate, I liked your response, and I'm glad the other listener didn't get in trouble, but that's really tempting fate. Listener Fred, signing off.
All right, before we discuss this situation again, and it was a situation where one of our listeners found a Tito voucher at a machine, waited for like 10 minutes to see if the person would come back for it. Nobody came back, so they ended up just using it, playing with it. Let's talk about Fred's claim that the casino can determine who was playing based on the Tito voucher. Now, this is from the frequently asked questions page regarding casino record-keeping, reporting, and compliance program requirements on the U.S. Treasury's Financial Crime Enforcement Network website. All right.
Wow.
While ticket in, ticket out tickets redeemed at kiosks or terminals do not contain a customer's name or any account number, each ticket has the number of the slot machine or video lottery terminal that issued it, as well as an 18-digit validation number and a unique barcode that can be used to identify a customer. Okay, so there is some truth to what Fred was saying. But that's probably not how they're going to track down that you're using somebody else's ticket, or that you are using a chip that you found on the floor that wasn't yours, or that you had found some money that wasn't yours. It's more likely that the camera would catch you doing it, or an employee would catch you doing it, something like that. And so we warn people that in most jurisdictions, the law says that that is not yours and you are not supposed to use it, and you should probably give it to an employee. Now, I remember we got a phone call a while back where someone was at the Golden Nugget and they did that, and the slot runner was confused. Like, well, big deal. It was just, why don't you just play it? It was abandoned. So, you may be giving it to an employee who doesn't even know the law. But we just want to warn you, we don't want you to get in trouble. So there you go.
I don't know. It's kind of a stupid rule, I guess. But then again,
I mean, stupid, if it's somebody else's money, I mean, it's not stupid to them that it's a rule, right? If they accidentally left it or, was a mistake.
Well, what if it's, those ones that you normally see that are 2 cents?
Oh, right.
Cents,
well, some people do that on
22
purpose.
cents.
And they're deliberately just leaving it there because they don't care. But
they don't want to take the time to, cash it out.
Yeah, and, still just steer clear. There's this classic story of a woman who found a nickel in a machine, and it wasn't hers, and some security guard took her out back, and it was this huge court case and settlement where it was pretty embarrassing for the casino to have made a big deal about this. Well, and the security guard in particular. But we just want everybody to not get in trouble. And so.
Yeah. And unless it's a large amount of money, then of course, keep it.
Yeah. All right. Send your comments directly to Dr. Mike. You comment on that at gmail.com.
They ought to have a button on every machine when you're ready to cash out. Do you want a voucher? Or do you want to just leave this to a certain charity?
Just right on the machine.
Donates.
I mean, there are plenty of ways.
Yeah, right on the machine.
Yeah. I've seen at Hamul, they've got a big tub where you can just put your vouchers in.
You're right.
For a charity, no matter how much it is. So, yeah.
And that's a nice thing, too.
Yeah.
But it would just be so nice if it was on the machine and just every month the casino just randomly picks a different charity. Do you really want
this 13 cents or can we just donate it?
Yeah. Can we just donate it? Right.
Yeah. Follow up on that, Dr. Mike.
I'm going to. Mark, as we are talking, I am sitting here going through some old stuff. It's a lot of baseball cards and posters, things like that. And in here, I found a brand new, unopened blackjack video game that requires 2 AAA batteries. It's never been opened.
Handheld. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in handheld. It's still in the packaging. It's a deluxe 2-player blackjack.
Oh, that's nice.
And I've got the owner's manual. It was sold at Radio Shack. And I'm trying to look for a date on here.
Are you going to open it and play it, or are you going to try to sell it?
Oh, no. I'm not going to play this.
Okay,
are you kidding? This is a valuable item now. Oh, from 1997.
Okay. I don't know how valuable it is if it's
97.
New, but okay.
Well, I'm going to keep it.
All right. Next up is Christian. He's got some more information on that temporary casino in Danville, Virginia. It's a big tent in the parking lot while they build the actual brick and mortar casino.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Christian from North Carolina calling again. I was just listening to the last episode and I heard the guy talking about Caesars, Virginia. I kind of wanted to give a little bit more insight to the craps situation going on there. So I was there last night, didn't play a whole lot of craps because it was a $25 table. But I really wanted to play some craps and figured that was my opportunity. They just last week got a real craps table put in there. Before that, all they had was crapless craps. So I bought in for $150. I just did a pass line bet. and then I would take single odds. They allowed 10 times odds on that table. Did pretty good. I was there with a few friends of mine, so I couldn't play for very long. The dealers were new, but I'm also a new craps player, so it kind of eased my nerves a little bit. I did throw out like a $5 hard six, kind of right when I got to the table, and that hit, so that was nice. They do not have the all-tall small bet. They just have the repeater bet. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. That hit a few times. Most people at the table were putting money on those bets. I stayed away from them. And then once I hit a few pass line bets, and after I hit that hard six, I placed the 6 and 8. I was doing pretty good, and then this guy, kind of a high roller, got the dice, and he put a bunch of money out there. He was really thinking he was going to have a good roll. He's throwing the dice super high up in the air, bounced off the table, called for same dice. Got the dice back, rolled them again, same thing, threw them super high. They hit the table and bounced off. And I was like, man, hopefully this turns into a good roll. And he threw them again, 7 out. But yeah, Caesars, Virginia also, it's a nice casino. Once you get inside, you can't really tell that it is temporary. And they have 3 stacks. That's the restaurant in there. I'm really looking forward to the new place, casino and hotel to open. But love the show, guys. Appreciate what you're doing, and talk later. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Christian. Yeah, Christian followed up with an email. Since Bert's call, I think we played it on the last episode where he was talking about Caesars, Virginia. They replaced the roll to win table with a regular craps table. I guess they just had crapless. So now they've got one of each, and they got rid of the roll to win. And it was kind of hard to hear, but Christian mentioned the restaurant that they have there. It's called 3 Stacks. 3 Stacks. Kind of a good name for a casino area, I guess. Oh, how much you buy in for? Oh, 3 Stacks. How much you up? Oh, 3 Stacks. All right. Last call.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike. Jeremy from Los Angeles. We met back when you guys were at the Harrah's Hotel last time, and I made all those hardway bets. None of them hit, but que sera, sera. Just had a thought. You know, this last episode you talked about these call bets, no call bets. For some reason, when I learned how to play craps at the O'Shea's, the old one, on the Strip, people were making bets as the dice were in the air. Am I crazy? Well, besides the usual crazy? I could have sworn that the keeping the dice in the center of the table was more of a recent, let's say, last 15, 20 years thing. And about 30 years ago, it was just Armageddon out there. Anyways, that's about it. I am headed out to Vegas this week, actually, for my very first time to see a concert in Las Vegas. I'm going to go see Pearl Jam twice this weekend. I know that sounds crazy to some, but they play a different show every single night. I've been to Vegas over 100 times. This is my first concert. All right. Hope all is well. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Nice. Good luck on your trip, Jeremy. Well, you're not crazy, Jeremy, but we think you are misremembering. Yeah. No call bets. That's been around for as long as we've been playing craps. And yeah, they want you to make your bets when the dice are in the middle. And if the dice are in the air, they'll usually say no bet.
I don't remember a time where call bets are okay.
Yeah.
They almost always had a sign saying, no call bets allowed.
Oh, gosh, ever since we've been playing, Mike. That's not a new thing, actually seeing it printed on the table. Now, Jeremy's talking about O'Shea's. We played at O'Shea's a few times, and I don't know why it would be any different there. In fact, they might have even enforced no call bets more, because remember that craps table was right on the street there, right? It was right as you would walk into O'Shea's.
Yeah.
But no, we don't think so, Jeremy. So it's been around. All right, we are going to Black Hawk, Colorado. The trip is coming up very soon. The official dates are June 6th through the 9th. That's a Thursday through Sunday. Very much looking forward to that. Hey, I don't even know if you knew this, Mike, but Kyle Askin from Due for a Win is going to be there.
You had mentioned that once before, yeah.
You met him, I believe, playing at MGM National Harbor when you were visiting DC. Yeah, so
correct.
I've never
very
met him
nice.
before, so looking forward to that. And a bunch of other people, and oh my gosh, it's going to be a blast. Melanie has contacted us, of course.
Yes.
Right? She lives right there in Colorado, so looking forward to seeing everybody. Now, the next episode, we would be slated to release that episode that Monday following that trip. We're not going to be able to do that because we won't have time to record. So I'm thinking what will happen is that episode will be a week late. That's my guess, the way I'm thinking right now, Dr. Mike. And then we'll only have a week between that episode and the next one. How does that sound?
Yeah, I think that sounds good
Okay,
to
so
me.
no promises, but that's probably going to be the case. But for sure, the next episode will be delayed. Looking forward to it, everybody. See you there.
Yes, I really am looking forward to it. We're going to be there a week.
Yeah, you're getting there a little early. We're getting there a little early too. So yeah.
Yeah, and we're staying a little later just so we can see some sights and stuff, do
Right.
some sightseeing in the area, and just relax a little.
You know, one of the outings is going to be to go to a brewery. And that is not normally something I'm interested in, but it's also a cidery, apple cider.
Oh.
So we'll probably join that tour too. And they've got a lot of other things planned. Thomas and Melissa have come up with a schedule. So we're definitely looking forward to that.
Now, how do we get the schedule?
I'll send it to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
It's
But
so
people
funny.
who go...
I've been posting it on Twitter and all these other places. I never really sent it to you.
Yeah.
So, and it's tentative, right? So, you know.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But I'd still like to, have the schedule.
Yeah, at least
because
see
Lynn-
what the plans are. Yeah.
Yeah, Lynn's already planning out stuff for us to do.
Oh, very
so
good. Oh, very
we'll have
good.
to work around that.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. From Nathan, from Brian Dancer, from Brian and Sarah, from Josh, and from the guys over at Crap Vegas. Thank you very much. We also got a donation from Thomas, who is planning the Black Hawk trip. He said, in honor of the upcoming Black Hawk trip, you guys had action last night on Rockies versus Padres. He took the over, and it won.
Nice.
Rockies actually beat the Padres, but the final score was 5-4, so we won. So thank you very much for that, Thomas. And also a donation from listener Scott. Karma donation for my 21-year-old daughter's first trip to Vegas, May 30th through June 2nd. Looking forward to Craps, Dead and Company at the Sphere, Ringo Starr, and my final visit to Love and the Mirage. Scott from North Carolina. Well, good luck on your trip, Scott.
Yeah, you got to take her to the craps table.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. That's a guaranteed win.
Guaranteed win. Give her the dice. Guaranteed win. And as most listeners probably know by now, the Mirage is closing on July 17th. A bit of a surprise. It's being converted into a Hard Rock, and there were some thoughts that maybe it would remain open during that transition, but no, it is closing, and it's going to be closed for 3 years. They're going to build that big guitar hotel and all sorts of things. Gosh, Mike, the Mirage, I remember going to it when it opened. I was there with my grandparents, and we always stayed at the Hilton, which is now Westgate, and we took a trip over there, and it was like nothing we'd ever seen before. This was before all the big resorts and the theming and everything had come to Las Vegas.
Right.
Wow.
I remember that same feeling walking in there for the first time, thinking, this is amazing, Think about it. It was like going from the old type of casinos, like you're at Four Queens downtown or something, like that. And then all of a sudden there's this, lavish resort.
Oh, you go and it's lush
and
and all these plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more than just a casino.
Right. It was something to see, right? As that's what it was.
Yeah. So it's like they say on 500, don't get attached to anything in Las Vegas because it may go away, right?
Right.
It's an ever-changing town. All right, Dr. Mike, we now have baseball caps on our online store.
Yeah, and they're, I think, very nice.
I think they turned out great. So we have 3 different colors, and our logo is embroidered on the hat. Yeah, I think they look great.
Yeah, and I had it so much more practical because you can wear that everywhere.
Yeah, it's just real quick. Oh, yeah. Sherry wants one. We're going to order one from you. Maybe you could bring it to us.
Yeah, I could bring it to you.
In Colorado.
Yeah, if anyone wants me to bring some to Colorado, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. You don't even need to go through the store. Just let us know. You can check out the store to see what they look like and the colors and everything.
Yeah, which one you want.
But just email us. You can bet on that at gmail.com, and we'll just bring it along, and it'll save you the shipping, and it'll be good.
Yeah, and you get it right there.
So you can go to the store. If you just go to the top of our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, you'll see a link to our store right up there. And we've also reduced the price of our old T-shirts, too. So if you want to get one of those old style, we've reduced the price there. And, of course, our newer T-shirts are on there as well. So thank you very much for that. Also on our webpage, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television. There is a link to that page if you're on a computer. It won't show up on mobile. But if you want to go directly there, it's at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at youcanbetonthat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonthat. Dr. Mike, you got anything for us at the end here?
Well, Mark, baseball season's going well.
Yes.
I enjoyed the Indianapolis 500 yesterday.
Oh, I completely missed it. Was it good?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Oh, it was very exciting at the end. Last year's winner, Newgarden, was in first. He got passed, dropped to second, and in the last lap, passed the guy up and ended up winning again for the second year in a row, which is kind of always exciting when that happens. Yeah, great race. And yeah, I've been enjoying sports. I guess that's what I'm going to be doing a lot of now for the summer.
Okay. And gambling in some way, I hope. I mean,
yes. Oh, well, we got Blackhawk coming up and who knows what else, where I'll appear.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mark, here, as we're signing off, as I told you, I was going through this thing of treasures that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this little card. It says, Mark and Sherry Duvall happily announced the birth of David Lyle. 6 pounds, 13 ounces, 20 inches.
Nice. You kept that. Thank you.
I got it right here. Yeah, it was good. I keep all the important stuff.
Good. Frame that, put it on your wall. Just a reminder that I had a kid. All right. We'll see all of you in Colorado.
See you there.
Come on, my card only has a 1 in 52 chance of getting picked anyway.
How did you know that? You're like Rain Man. Quick, how many toothpicks are on the ground?
0.
You need to go to Vegas.